Good evening, everybody. We are live again with another episode of Tales from the Tavern. I'm so excited about the crew that I have with us tonight. We have some people, well, nobody that has been here before, all new people to the stream, but people that I have been trying to get on stream for quite a while, let me tell you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by having everybody go around and just introduce themselves and tell us a little about who you are and where we can find you on social media and things like that. So we are going to start with Deborah, if you would like to tell us a little about yourself.
On the web at www.pardenusgaming. That's Parden for Parisic Dennis, and .com.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we will move down to Dev. Dev makes things.
Hey everybody, Lunas, thank you so much for having me. Been a big fan for a long time, and lots of my friends have been on. Yeah, I'm Devin. Dev makes things everywhere on the internet, and I do a lot of artwork, mostly these days for the various games that I'm running in my homeworld or one-shots. And I just now started a Ko-fi page. Still don't even know how to pronounce it.
I've had
Nothing
one for like
there
a year,
yet,
and I still don't know how to pronounce it. Well, I'm excited that it worked out to have you on. I got to record a one-shot with Dev not too long ago, and it was so much fun. So definitely check that out. It's on Beholder to No One. So, yeah. Jacob, let's go to you next.
Hey everybody, good evening, or wherever you are in the world. Maybe it's morning, maybe it's afternoon, wherever you're watching this later. My name is Jacob Plick, Duo King Jacob on the interwebs, the Twitters, the Instas, and I co-founded a little company called the Amphitheater, and you can check that out on Twitter and Twitch, where we play some tabletop RPGs and some video games. And I also run a show called Duval and Dragons, a D&D 5e actual play based off of the greatest game of all time, Chrono Trigger, and that's on the opposite Sundays, so every other Sunday, so come check that out. Happy to be here. Otherwise,
I am excited. We've been trying to get Jacob on here for how long? Like
in a hot minute.
Yeah. And next over we have Charlie.
Hey there, I'm the GM and a bunch of other stuff over at Negative Modifier. We're a relatively new podcast that specializes in the darker end of the tabletop RPG spectrum, I guess is the phrase we use. Our catchphrase seems to have become, if you're sick of all those fantasy heroics, come check us out, and just really excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit, and I'm definitely, I've got your podcast on my radar, so when I finish binging the next one that I'm on. And next we've got Amber.
It's so nice to be here at Tales from the Tavern. I'm really excited. I've been watching for a couple months now, and it's good stuff. So I'm so pleased to be at this group. My name is Amber. You can find me everywhere at the Space Jamber or thespacejamber.carrd.co. I've actually just launched my my game editing, copywriting, freelance kind of gig. I am actually a professional copywriter and social media manager in my day job. So why not, transfer my skills over and use my skills for what I'm passionate about, which is creating a great story and helping folks put out the best content they can. So I've been playing various TTRPGs for a while, but I've really gotten into it over quarantine and LARPing too. So, so excited to be here. So excited to again just share the table with all of y'all and can't wait to chat. Yay.
Awesome. That is very exciting, and good luck with the editing and all of that stuff. That's a lot of work. So for those of you who are new to visiting this stream and have not been in chat before, basically the way that this works is all of our questions and things that we discuss come from you guys. I've already seen one question get dropped into chat, so please feel free to put those questions in chat. We've got moderators that are making sure that I get them. I've seen just a few more come in now, so we're off to a good start. So the first one that I'm going to start us off with actually just came in from Ray Mayhem, who redeemed our Ask My Question Next using channel points. For 1,000 channel points, you can bump your question up to the top of the queue. And so Ray would like to know, what is your favorite thing another player ever brought to your game or table? That's a good question.
Is a bribe for me an acceptable answer to this question?
I guess it depends on what the bribe was.
Well, the Starfinder group I run, that's actually not attached to the podcast, we go through an inordinate number of dry erase markers because I don't know why, but I have incredibly bad luck with them. And one of my players brought me, I'm going to assume is like the intended for an entire school's worth of dry erase markers box of those, and they had a bad roll, and I'm sitting there like, well, what do you want to do? And they go, will this thud, and put like a 20-pound box of markers on the table in front of me. Change your opinion of what just happened. I'm like, I don't know. How many black markers are in there? Because those are the ones I go through the most. They go, it's about half, and I go, how about you re-roll that? I didn't see that last dice roll that went along there.
Nice.
For me, like the way I read that question was not like a physical thing, but like a moment.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like when you're running games, like there's definitely an aspect of GMing that requires, at least in my experience, a level of coachability from an improvisational perspective. Especially since like you're reacting to a bunch of people, and then you're the world, and how is the world reacting to what your players are doing. And so this was a classic case of over preparation that blew up in my face in a really, really good way. So there was a player that was leaving because they just, as always, schedule bollocks is always a problem, and they wrote this incredibly heartfelt, beautiful letter. And they addressed it to this particular player, and I studied the letter, and I changed my accent, and I did it all in character at the table live. This like 3-page letter. The problem is that this character was a barbarian that didn't know how to read. And imagine that this heartfelt performance that I had been given, and he looks at the pages and he goes, well, that's all right. This is all chicken scratch to me, and he throws the papers in the air. And I was just like, oh my god.
Oh, no.
Like the world is just crumbling in front of me. And literally, like, people are falling out of their chairs. It was super funny. It was super clutch for him to just, because he could have been like, Jacob, I can't read. But he let me just go into the stratosphere, and then, well, I'm sure it was great, but I have no idea what the fuck this says.
No, points to a character staying in character like that.
Yeah.
That was impressive, yeah.
So yeah, I think about that very often. As someone says inspiration, he definitely got inspiration in that game, no doubt about it.
That's method acting. That's like, oh man, that is Daniel Day-Lewis level of being in character. We'd love to see it.
Love to see it.
I guess
I'd say please go ahead.
well,
I was just going to say that.
All right, how about Deb, then Amber, then Dev?
Okay, mine was usually something after, and that was what Deb treats. And the husband was in the game, and the wife always fixed something chocolate. And so we always had that afterwards.
That's awesome. I love that.
So right before quarantine, I'll go. I had been how do I phrase this? Last year I was in and out of the hospital a lot, but like the worst of it was like right before quarantine, like maybe a month or two before quarantine. And I wasn't GMing yet. I was still just a player, but like I had to miss a couple sections because I was, dealing with my gastroenteritis and gallbladder issues that it was the worst. But when I was actually able to make my grand return, the people at the table had put together like this PowerPoint like presentation of like moments they've missed and like adventures they took with like my they were like, oh, Braz did this, and checked with me first to make sure it was fine, but like it was like our adventure book, and it was so sweet to be like, we missed you so much while you were dying.
Aww.
Like, it was so wholesome. I unfortunately that table like dissolved because of quarantine, but like I'm still friends with all those folks, and I would love, I would like, yeah, I just cat sit for one of them the other day, and like I can't wait to play with them again. It's so good. So yeah,
That's
it's the best thing that came to my table.
Kind of tying into that, I was going to say, in general, vulnerability, and a willingness to. There's a lot of laughter and comedy and shenanigans, and just general silliness in my games, in my table, in my world. But I appreciate it when players are willing to open themselves up to all kinds of emotions. So bringing that vulnerability, and then also handing me the keys to that vulnerability in the form of backstory or character detail. Some of my most memorable moments have come from that. And another thing is, I run a number of games and one-shots and everything, all set in the same world of Vaima that I've been creating for the last year, just over a year. And all the stories end up influencing each other. So players having an adventure in one part of the world, some details will show up from that, or that will have an impact on something. And players who have been in it long enough start doing that and tying things together and adding to it and building on it. And that's a beautiful gift to me. All kinds of connections that I wouldn't have expected. So the one shot that Luna referenced on Beholder to No One is set in my world, and one of the players is actually Ray Mayhem, who asked the question. And there are a bunch of things that she dropped during that one shot that tie back into various other aspects of the world, but no one would know unless they'd played or spent some time in it. And third thing, Daphne, another player in one of my games, begins every session, every week, by reading a letter that she has written in character as Chiron, writing to their father, who is a dragon. And that is just such a great way to set the tone for a game.
That's very cool. I'm trying to think. I mean, a lot of the stuff that, I've gone through. So on another channel I used to play on, I had a stream, a regular, weekly streamed game on there, and one of the things that we did was in the Discord server, we opened up a channel that was specifically so our community could RP with the characters that were in the stream. And so what would happen was, on a weekly basis, I would touch base with the GM, because I sort of took over like that piece of the I was the community manager for all of this stuff on the Discord server, but I really like took control of that piece. And so every week he would check in with me and say, okay, give me a quick update on anything that happened in the RP channel, and he would try to find ways that he could work it into the game. So that way, there might be a nod to a community member's character that they had made, they might become an NPC in the game, or something like that. And I think that was just a really nice touch. Because it was a streamed game, I just felt like that was a really nice touch to make the community feel like they could be part of it, even though they weren't physically sitting at the table with us. And for anybody who participated in that RP room, it was like an extra little boost, because it was like, oh, I remember that. I was part of that. I was doing that in the RP channel when that happened. One of the things that came out of it was instead of just having regular mead, now we have this thing called sprited mead that became canon in our world. My character had a romance in the off-screen world, and some of that was able to carry over and actually drive part of the story to get our characters to move on to the next town. And so that was really kind of a cool thing, a cool way to work that in too. So I just feel like both the DM for being able to do that and being willing to do that, but also for the community to feel like they wanted to be a part of that. Like that was a huge thing for them to bring in. But
to jump on that, like in like the homebrew world for Duval and Dragons, which is called Yorohatsu, like all the, whether charity or not, like all the one-shots that I run and little mini campaigns and stuff are all in that world. And I always try to stress from both like an engagement perspective and a player sort of buy-in perspective. Because like, especially with like a charity one-shot where you're like, okay, cool, like let's go in and blow some stuff up and raise some money for a really, really good cause. But like if there's an opportunity for like, whether it's a small scale, like changing a drink, or like that dragon that was over there is now thinking about something different because of the adventurers that they impacted or engaged with. And so now like the wheels are turning. And so like there's that instant engagement because like what I do can impact a larger story. And then in some cases, like maybe then I have to come back into that world to continue that story later on.
I guess if I can, I kind of follow a question to both of that.
Yeah.
Were you playing it more kind of play by post essentially, or was it more just kind of general chat room kind of forum RP at that point?
So yes. It was basically just one Discord channel. And so basically it would be play by post unless there was a group of people that were available. And then what would end up happening is somebody would, if people were like, I don't have a whole lot of time, they might just do a little like, oh, we all go out and get drinks at the tavern and have a conversation. But one weekend, it just so happened that a bunch of us were around for both Saturday and Sunday, and we didn't have a whole lot going on. So we literally ran like a 2-day adventure in the Discord server. And it was just like, it was totally non-canon, but it was a great adventure to people would jump in and jump out based on combat or things that had happened, and somebody would be like, oh, I've got to run, and we'd be like, oh, it's okay, your character will jump back to this place. And because of where we were able to kind of just say that they could vanish out of combat, and we'd just say, oh, you basically the way that this scenario was that they were fighting in an alternate plane. And so kind of the way we looked at it is like, oh, we're in combat, so if you essentially hit like 0 hit points or low hit points, you kind of vanish and go back to the real world, the real world. And so that was how we were able to get people in and out of like a weekend event like that. But it was, so it was a little bit of both. It really just depended on people's availability, and we would try to, just pull people in as we could. Some people would they would jump in and, they might post I don't know, a few times and then be like, yeah, this isn't really for me. And then other people were like, they'd come in and next thing you know, boom, they had a whole character with a backstory, and we just did it really loosely. Like everything was based on a D20. If you get an 11 or above, you succeed, but how close to 20 you are depends, that grants the level of success. Anything below a level is a failure. Anything closer to 1 determines the level of failure. And then it was just a really, it was just really fun. We just put a dice bot in there so everybody could see the rolls, and it was a good time.
I guess kind of, was there a deliberate attempt to kind of try and end canonical sessions, I guess is the right phrase, in spots that allowed for the kind of jump in, or the two kind of run parallel, and you pulled when you had kind of appropriate timing?
Yes and no. I mean, sometimes there were things that, like, basically, some of the characters that were in there a lot, you know, like, I was in there a lot, so my character was obviously in there a lot. And so she had to kind of transition along based on what was happening in the main story. And so the way that some of the characters played it is some would just stay in town and, like, they would have their little RP sessions still in town. Others that wanted to be more connected with my character would say that they were following, like, a day behind. And so then we'd RP out a scene, like, wherever my character was in canon. So it was kind of a good little workaround.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, just curiosity. I've had some experience with kind of the out-of-game roleplay stuff. Delta Green lends itself well to it because you have to do bureaucracy roles, but
Oh, yeah.
it's kind of, there's a whole kind of system built into it that lets you do that stuff where it's your day job, but nothing ever that involved. And I was kind of curious if you deliberately kind of made spots for it, or just like, hey, it's between stuff, free form.
Yeah, I mean, we really just kind of figured it out as we went. So it was interesting, but yeah, we made it work, so it was good.
Yeah, definitely making a note for the stream I'm in to be like, hey, y'all, if Crimson Harvest gets picked up for a whole season, like, let's go.
Yeah, it was fun. It was just a fun way a fun, different way to interact with the community. But all right, let's see. We've got another question. This one comes from Nekala the Druid. Nekala would like to know, what would your wizard familiar be in real life?
This is a really, really easy answer. It's a red panda.
Ah!
Because they are so fucking cute.
They are so adorable.
So cute. Like, for a while there, I kind of did like the owl and like a badass like red-tailed hawk. And then red pandas came into my life, and it was game over, yo.
Yeah.
they're so cute. So cute. Plus, like, I kind of want that cuteness to be like, can you go over there and here, have this inflict wounds, and go give them a hug. Give them a really good hug.
Actually, mine is also very easy. Mine would be a possum, and I literally have just like possum things within reach. Like, these are possum post-its my friend Miff gave me. I have a possum tattoo. Like, I love these. I love them. But I mean, they're, you know, they know how to play dead, and like, they would be great when you're trying to convince the big bad evil guy that, like, no, my familiar's gone. Oh no. But also, you know, they eat bugs while you're on the road, so I mean, that would also help, so that just in case, God forbid, you know, your DM tries to throw some, you know, swarms at you, your possum buddy can just eat them. So, you know, and also they scream at own ass, and like, who doesn't love that? That's good role play. So, oh, Miff, oh my God, I literally just talked about the post-its you gave me. So yeah, possum.
Mine is hiding. His name is Heathcliff, and here's a picture of him. I don't know if you can see it all that well. Yeah, he was here a little bit ago, and has decided to, I guess, move into the bedroom or onto one of the couches in there. And he's the chief barking officer for Pardon Us Gaming, and that was a picture of him and his friend at the groomer.
Aww.
But yeah, he's definitely doing his own thing, but he is my familiar, and pretty much anybody who knows me these days would know I love to take him everywhere. He's also my emotional support animal, and so yeah, he rules the roost. He lets me pay the rent.
This one's mine right here. This is Molly. This is Gamer Cat Molly. You've seen her on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
My personal Twitch channel, I actually have an emote of her now.
Good.
Yep. So she's 16. She's my baby, but she's 16, and I've had her since she was 6 weeks old. So, yep. So can't really be
mine would
else.
also be a cat.
Nice.
Mine would also be a cat, either a stray cat, like the one I found in a box in the park as a kitten. I wasn't a kitten. She was a kitten. I was in first grade, so I guess I was kind of a kid.
Clarification.
So either stray cat rescue or pizza rat.
Oh my gosh.
If any of the listeners from Negative Modifier are watching this, they're probably listening. They're going, "Oh, he's gonna say something edgy, like a scarab or an alligator or a shark or something." Given what he does to all the players on that, and kind of in the on-brand category of things. But I'd have said that probably till I got my dogs, and it's pugs. They are the right level of lazy and jerk in dog form.
There you go.
I love pugs way too much, and I mean, God, I love. I'm really jealous. You have 2 pugs. I'm
There he
so
is.
jealous. Of 2 pugs.
And I rescued both of them. We're lucky enough to have a really good rescue here in LA that we got both of them from.
He's so cute.
Well, thank you, and so is Molly.
Oh, thank you.
Heathcliff is 12.
Yep. Did everybody answer that question?
I think so.
I think so. Okay. All right. So, Vertrox Nightblood had a great question. What is your favorite, well, now it's canon, moments in a game you play or run?
I feel like it happens almost every session though. Like it's just like, all right, there it is.
That's a thing.
Yeah, so much of the world that is developed between me and my players over the last year has been through yes-anding player suggestions. I had players. I like to ask questions in between weeks so I can add details to the world. So, like, what's your character's favorite drink? What's a tavern that you've been thrown out of? What bard song would they sing at karaoke? And then I start tying those in. I'll drop a link in the chat to a broadsheet newspaper that I made, and that the ads at the bottom are all things that players came up with.
Oh my gosh.
You said it was Vertrox? Was it Vertrox who asked the
Yeah.
question? Okay. He is in also one of my games playing a giant bear. Basically all of the things that he has added. I'll give you some specifics and come back to them.
I'm debating mine because we haven't aired our moment yet, but it's that MySpace is now nothing but Delta Green agents. The only people on there are Delta Green agents because no one else on there is not a Delta Green agent.
Well, that's just reality anyway, so that's fine.
Here's the problem: you play Delta Green. It's canon. Reality is canon in Delta Green, so it's kind of okay. What jokes we make about reality? Like, what social media would Delta Green agents use? MySpace. Why? It's dead. No one uses it, and they could be left alone.
Although you always will have at least one friend on there, and and that's Tom. I mean, Tom's always watching.
I think we established that Tom's actually an A-cell and he's maybe Alphonse. Like, that was the origin of that joke. Like, he's actually secretly the head of Delta Green.
Okay, all right, I'll contend with that.
If you want to go
Tom,
deep undercover,
anywhere.
do you have to go into Friendster or something?
Or Live Journal, or man,
Zanga,
I'm sure,
Zanga, baby.
Oh my god, you beat me to it! I was really about to say that. Well done.
This is where the Shignigaroth cultists hang out.
Let's blog about it on Live Journal.
I think I have 2. So one actually involves Miff, who's in the chat right now. I am in the middle of introducing D&D to my little brother. He's 14, and so we're going through Candlekeep Mysteries, and in our second session, the whole party was looting, one of the rooms in the mansion at one of the first Candlekeep Mysteries, and the party turned the room over, found every hint that there was for the thing, and so I just felt bad because somebody had actually, for their investigation check, after they had gotten everything, they were like, what did I find under the rug? I got a 17. And yeah, you find stickers. You find just a roll of stickers. They don't do anything. They don't they're just there to decorate. It's stickers from things that are on the wall. And then so gradually throughout the rest of the rest of the session, I was adding stickers like that people could find, and it just became everyone wanted to collect the stickers. So I think as we go through the rest of the mysteries, I might make. I did like homebrew on the spot like a sticker book of intelligence. So like each individual sticker, as long as you put the sticker on the forehead, will give you +1 to intelligence rolls for the next 12 hours until it peels off. It's a book of 20. So, I think I'm gonna incorporate like other little dumb sticker things like that in future games. The other is I have a game that I play on Thursdays. It's just a bunch of friends. And one character like just decided to like start pulling teeth from like bodies. I don't know why, but we were just like, Styx, why are you collecting teeth, bud? Why are you doing that? And he was just like, you never know when you need teeth. You never know when you need teeth. And then finally our DM, like, we went to Avernus, and our DM, like, in exchange for a soul coin, allowed Styx to create like this like mantle or whatever of all of the teeth that he'd collected throughout the entire campaign so far. And it adds to intimidation, and I just, it's so weird and so bizarre that I couldn't believe that like Brandon rolled with it. But it was, two of my favorite dumb things that ever happened. I spoke a lot, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
For me, it just came to me. Yes, ending the liquor fireball as not only one existing, two flammable. Because it was like, yeah, like I think like I would like a shot of fireball. All right, cool, sounds good. And then it just became this like thing where I was kind of improvising like the bartender like lighting it on fire and making this like really like ridiculous display. And then they were like, well, what if we have like necklaces of fireball, and then we put them in fireball, and then we put them in a barrel, and then like what happens? And I was just like, okay, that's interesting. And all that escalated into a level 8 party discovering the existence of a ancient kraken, and then they figured out a way to roll in 2 of these barrels. And I think I was just like, you know what, 70 d6, I don't know, whatever, let's just go for it, right? And so they rolled it in. And then like as they went out, like one of the characters, I think it was like a ranger or something, and it was like, bye bye, and blew it up. It was a good ass time. But it all started with this was of course with like a couple of months of gameplay, and like it all started with, can I get a shot of fireball?
There you go.
The one that I can think of from campaign that we did a long time ago. It's been a while since I've been involved in a long campaign where you really get some good development. Is a gesture that we always use for running. It was kind of invented by my friend Jim, who is the one that's helping me in publish this book and complete the set of books, because since my husband is no longer on this plane of existence. But we had a gesture. I can't do it here because I can't really stand up, but it was like, running! And so we would use that all the time for trying to get out of whatever situation that we had.
That's so fun. So, Deborah, since you mentioned the books that you're working on publishing, I am curious. Tell us a little more about the system that you're working on.
It was developed by my late husband, and so I, after I got laid off from my last corporate job, I realized that I had the time to devote to getting it published in his honor. It's a 4D10 generic system, and so you roll the 4D10 and compare it to a table that will tell you how if your score is a certain what's the word I'm looking for? On the it's on the on the IQ scale.
Okay.
Where you have, 100 is average for a person. And so if you roll your 4d10 and you have several modifiers on a roll, like you want to crack a safe.